This is John Cola with GrowingYourGreens.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you in a very unlikely place for me to be to do a gardening episode for you guys. I know no other gardeners are probably even here except maybe the ones that ran into me that knew me because they already watched my show on YouTube. There's a handful of them. Anyways, the reason why I'm here is because I'm at the 2015 CES. International CES, so that's the Consumer Electronics Show. This is one of the largest trade shows in the world, especially about consumer electronics, but just in general. This takes up most of the convention space in Las Vegas. There is so many people, I cannot imagine having to walk this whole show if you are in this industry, so my props to you because this thing is huge. I'm glad I'm just covering the stuff having to do with gardening today. There's a handful of booths. So I'm gonna show you guys the latest in tech for gardening, and who else on YouTube does that? Nobody. Anyways, let's go ahead into the CES and check out some gardening tech so that you guys can grow more food at home and grow it even if you don't have green thumbs, because we're gonna let the computers do all the work. So now we're inside the CES, and man, this place is huge. There's like several different convention centers that this place fills. There's so much stuff having to do with tech and connected tech. You know, I'm in the area now with all the different, sensor-based devices like the Fitbit and the iFit that having to do with fitness, where they actually put sensors on you and you could look at your iPhone and see how many calories you're burning and see your heart rate and see all this crazy stuff they're doing these days. I'm not here for any of that stuff. I think this technology is great, but should be applied to gardening. So what I'm gonna try to find here in this hall somewhere are some companies that are actually using some sensor-based technology to improve your garden. So anyways, let's go ahead and walk around and see if I can find a couple booths to share with you guys. So I've been walking all around CES to try to find some stuff having to do with gardening, and most of it's actually not having to do with gardening. This is like the largest convention in Las Vegas, and it's all having to do with tech, and you tech heads out there watching me would love it. I'm not really loving it. It's just so crowded there, and there's so much, it's just too crazy. There's so many things. I'm so glad that there's only a handful of gardening companies here that have to do with gardening. So I found the first booth I want to share with you guys today. It's actually right there behind me. It's actually the Edyn Keep Tabs on Your Garden. It's a garden sensor, so you could check the moisture levels and the nutrient levels, the light levels. Runs on solar power, which is amazing. Which is cool. They have an iPhone app right now, and anyways, let's go over there and share with you guys more about this sensor that's smart. So now we're at the booth of Edyn, and check it out. This is their garden sensor here. Now this is really cool. You know, I've used sensors before that are dumb. You got to like put them in your garden, then you got to take them out, then you got to plug them in, and that's just a pain in the arse. This is smart because literally there's it's all weatherproof, waterproof, all this kind of stuff. And it's runs on solar power, and it's Wi-Fi connected, right? So at present time, they have an iPhone app here that wherever you are, you could connect up and check out the light level, the humidity level, the nutrition, and the moisture level in your soil, so you can know when you're at work to keep tabs on your babies in your garden. Now, besides just keeping tabs on this, they also make plant recommendations. You know, if you're growing some vegetables or growing trees or whatever, they have a big database of plants so that they know how much water it needs and, what kind of nutrients it needs at different stages in life, so that they will give you recommendations. And it's really cool that they're incorporating organic recommendations. I mean, this company's out of Oakland, California. They did a Kickstarter last year, and they're now shipping their products. It's at edyn.com. And so yeah, really looking forward to getting my hands on one of these guys and checking out my plants. Now, I recommend using one of these guys, like one per bed, to kind of know what's going on in your specific raised bed. I mean, this is the future of gardening for you guys out there that, I think most people, in my opinion, overwater their garden, right? We want to love our garden. We tend to give it too much water because we think, oh, love is water because I'm tending to my plants, right? Well, you could actually be hurting your plants by overwatering. You could also be hurting your plants by underwatering them. What happens is your plants get stressed out, right? And when your plants get stressed out, they don't produce to their highest genetic potential, which means you're sacrificing your yields. And I teach you guys to do the best kind of gardening possible to get the highest yields and grow the most nutritious crops, and this is a tool that can help you. Now, I like that this is a tool that gives you feedback on your garden, including the nutrition, the moisture, and the sunlight levels, which is important because I'm sure this app, if not already, will in one day, basically based on the soil conditions and the lighting conditions, will make recommendations on plants that'll do well. Like, for example, if you have a non-sunny area, right, it's better to grow things like non-fruiting crops like leafy green vegetables and herbs, right? And so, yeah, the sensor technology in gardening is huge, and I'm glad there's, this company is doing that, because I mean, there's a whole big section of this hall filled with technologies that censor, your cardiovascular stuff and your pulse and how much exercise you're getting. But there's only like one company doing it in gardening. So I want to encourage all the tech companies out there to get more gardening stuff, because I mean, we all need to eat. Now, the other aspect of this system that I really like even more than just the monitoring of it, which actually can be used separately or together in conjunction, is this guy right here. Now, this guy looks very simple. This is the future of irrigation technology that I'm holding in my hand. It's Wi-Fi connected, wireless, and also solar powered. This is huge. I can't tell you how many, like water timers I've used that you set on a per minute, and every time of the year, I reset my water timer constantly throughout the year based on the season, based on what I'm growing, based on the weather conditions. In the middle of the summer, I'm watering a lot, and in the winter time, when it's raining a little bit, I water less. With this, because it is connected to the sensor, right, it'll water when your plants need the water, right? Many of you guys might eat at 8 o'clock, noon, and 5 because that's when you're supposed to eat, right? But what if you're not hungry? I believe that people should eat only when they're hungry, and we only need to feed our plants, give them water, give them nutrients when your plants need it. With this valve here, basically, it controls that for you based on the moisture if you're using their sensor. Now, you can also use this alone, and I think this is definitely a better improvement over just using a standard water timer. Now, this is not going to control valves and all that stuff. This is for a person that maybe is renting or whatnot, that you can just basically, you plug in the hose that has water going in on one side and then have it go out to your raised bed on the other side. You could hook up a drip irrigation or different kinds of sprinklers to it, whatever you need, so it's maximum flexible. And if you don't have their little sensor there, you could actually go in with the app on the phone, and they currently have an iPhone app, which is good on an iPad or an iPhone or an iTouch, that can control this, and you can control it by the minute. But in the future, they're going to have maybe a web application, also an Android application. But this truly is the future of gardening. At present time, the retail price on this is $59, and the sensor's $100, $99. I think it is a good investment to give you guys some feedback on your plants. I mean, we have baby monitors, right, for monitoring babies. My babies right now, my plants. Hopefully one of these days, I'll have some real babies. All right, so learn more about this product at edyn.com, and I hope to get a sample for review, and I'm going to set up some of my beds with this system to see how good it works, and I'll do a more in-depth review for you guys. So now another garden-related item here at CES is this guy right here. It's a Netatmo Weather Station for the smartphone. So this basically allows you to put a weather station, and the package for one price allows you to get an outdoor thermostat and also an indoor that gets pushed to the internet and then to your smartphone, so that you can know the temperature, what's going on in your garden and inside your house. So this is super cool. Let's go ahead and give you guys a close-up of some of the other accessories they have for this, and the reason why I decided to include this product in the video today. One of the things that I like to do, whether I'm traveling or at home, is check the weather. So I Google weather and my zip code, and I could see the temperature of a local weather station near me that's maybe like 10 blocks away, and then I could know the temperature that's outside, so I could determine if I want to go out and work in the garden or if I need to put some thermals on today or not, of course, in the winter time. But even better is having your own weather station to know the weather. So this is very important, especially if you're growing sensitive plants, whether early in the season or late in the season, to know if you're going to get a frost, right? And so with the Netatmo, you can set this up outside in the weather to know the precise temperature in your garden, so that you could take appropriate action when required. So for the outdoor sensor, they basically have the temperature and the humidity, and then you got an indoor sensor that does temperature, humidity, pressure, and CO2 levels to measure air quality, which is cool, which comes as a standard package. think it's about $169. Amazing technology. You can also choose to publish the data to a map on their website and see the temperature around the world through individual users. You know, I think this is the future of forecasting and taking the power out of powers that be, but putting it back to the people. They also have additional indoor sensors, for example, the kids' room or whatever, yeah, whatever. But now they got really cool, a wind sensor. So if your plants, you know, and it's getting too windy outside, you can determine the wind sensor, once again on the smartphone app. And they also have a rain sensor so you can know how much it rained. Now the cool thing is they have an open API. What does that mean to you guys that are not tech heads? This means you can tap into the data from here to control devices that, you know, work in your garden. So for example, you know, somewhere in the building, which I haven't checked out yet, there's a smart garden hub that will connect to the Netatmo data and basically water according to the weather at your place. So this is completely amazing, and I wouldn't have found out about this stuff if I didn't come here to the 2015 CES. Let's go ahead and wander around CES some more and see if I can find some other cool gardening items that I'm going to share with you guys today. Man, I'm having so much fun here at CES. You know, there's like, I got to stay focused. There's so many cool things to look at. Where we're at now is actually we're here at the Parrot booth, and they got all these little mini drones in this little fenced off area, and I don't know if you guys can see, like, look at like really close, and you can see all these like little bat-like things. They're mini drones, like all pre-programmed or, you know, flying a certain pattern. They got music going. Man, they got all kinds of cool stuff at Parrot. Now, the mini drone is just one of the things that Parrot does. The reason why I'm actually at the Parrot booth is because they make some amazing plant sensors that are gonna allow you, even if you don't have green thumbs, right? You can now grow some plants successfully with some of the Parrot plant sensors that they have here. So anyways, let's go ahead and go over to the plant area and show you guys some of the technology that they're created. So now I'm gonna get to share with you guys two products made by Parrot that are gonna allow you, even if you don't have green thumbs, to grow, because it basically takes all the, you know, intelligence needed to grow and puts it into sensors that allows any Bluetooth phone, including an iPhone and Android or iPads and all this kind of stuff, to be able to get the data, and, you know, it matches that up with the whole database of, you know, profiles of specific plants to give it the right amount of water and to remind you when it needs, you know, fertilizer or nutrients, and if it's getting enough sunlight, and it'll alert you and tell you what you need to do differently to get the optimal, best plant growth, and more importantly, to keep your plants alive. So anyways, let's go ahead and head over and check out these two products. So the first product I want to share with you guys today is not even released yet, neither is the other one. It'll be out later this year at some point, hopefully in time for the gardening season. It's actually called the Parrot Pot, and that's this guy right here. It monitors 4 different variables, including the water, the temperature, the sunlight, and the fertilizer needs of the plant, and basically will take care of your plant for you. It holds 2 liters of water, so literally you just got to make sure it's full of water, and it's going to water as needed. You know, it can detect the moisture levels of the plant, and more importantly, in this plant database here, it has literally 8,000 plants that it has a specific profile for how much water, nutrients, and sunlight each plant likes. And it'll actually send you messages to your Bluetooth enabled phone with, you know, hey, you need more sun, hey, you need to fill the water, hey, you know, it needs more fertilizer, and hey, the temperature is out of range, you know. So it basically does the work for you. I mean, myself as a gardener and somebody with, I like to say, green thumbs and what I call gardener intuition, this will give you the gardener intuition if you don't have it. This is also an excellent learning tool, because I want you guys always not to rely on technology, but learn about the plants, feel out the plants, and know the plants on an intimate level yourself, so they don't need technology. But the problem is, if you're not used to doing this, this technology gives you a tool to learn about the plants, to see what it needs, so that you will get and you will learn this gardener's intuition that I want each and every one of you guys to have. So besides the 8,000 plants, what it'll key in on what plant exactly needs. If your plant is not in the database, this is very important. They have basically a standard program where it'll just water and keep all the variables aligned to keep your plant alive. You can also make custom programs to give your plant exactly what it needs. The other thing that's really cool is we could get actually interactive live data from the pot on our smartphone to see what's happening. So let's go up here to it and we'll show you this. It says requesting live data, waiting for data. Now we've got all the data. The water is at 22%. The temperature is at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Nice temperature inside here today. The sunlight is at 0.30, and check this out. I could take my hand, cover the sensor, and now it goes down to 0.10. I mean, this is interactive. Look, it just went back up to 0.33 after I took my hand off. And then the fertilizer, it says NA. It uses EC to check the fertilizer amount in there, and we'll let you know to fertilize when necessary. Now, I only recommend you guys use organic and natural and not synthetical chemical-based fertilizers. Now, check this out. I want to show you guys how this pot works. We'll do a close-up on the screen for you guys. We're going to go ahead and click that, and this is how intelligent this pot works. Check it out. I mean, this is just not a self-watering pot that basically gives a pot a lot of water. This only gives the pot water as needed. So I mean, I think this technology should be in every pot, especially things like garden towers and all these kind of things, you know. But basically you have the water reservoir, basically the water gets circulated up through a pump, through little sprayers as it's needed. The light sensor is up top, the temperature sensor is up top. The soil sensor is in the pot itself. There's also a fertilizer sensor in there, which takes care of your plant so that you don't have to. Let's go back and show you guys, check this out now. You know, the pot is set to auto water, but if you want to see it water, check it out. We're gonna hit try watering and check out the little spigots up there. You could see it's watering, and you could see the spigots are now watering the plant automatically. This is truly amazing and an innovation in technology for growing your plants. I don't care, you know, no longer does anybody out there have to have brown thumbs. With the Parrot Pot, you can now grow some food at home. So now I'm gonna show you guys my favorite product here at the Parrot booth. I mean, yeah, those drones are cool, but this thing kicks ass. You guys all wanna get these if you guys are growing some food at home or have some live plants, because, you know, it's gonna take the guesswork out of having green thumbs and allow you to do it very easily, very quickly. Plus, they have an open architecture, so you could grab the data from this and include it in your own apps and create your own apps with their data, or of course, just use their own app, which is highly refined. So the Parrot H20 is the second generation of their plant monitoring product here. They have the original Flower Power, and this one is more improved. The Flower Power only basically took some of the data, and they have improved the capabilities and detection of the sensors to make them better. In addition, they added a really cool feature. Not only can you use this as a sensor, but you could also use this to water your plant. This is very important if you go away on vacation. You know, you can hook up any little, you know, bottle to a plastic bottle, like you know, they got a 1 liter bottle here. You can put a 2 liter bottle or even a 3 liter bottle, and you can water your plant when you're on vacation. Now, that's cool that you can water your plant on vacation. Say you'll be gone for 30 days. You could tell it, hey, I'm gonna be gone for 2 months, and I want you to distribute the amount of water that's in the container over 2 months. So go on a limp mode, you know, for those of you guys that are in cars and know the limp mode. It basically will water a little bit less than it should, but it'll keep your plant alive, so the time when you come home, you'll have live plants instead of ones that are not alive. So yeah, the amazing, they added the watering capability, and they have so much data that you can now get on your iPhone or Android device or iPad, something like that. And here it is. We're gonna go in here and show you guys what. Now, they're growing a little non-edible flower here. I wanna encourage everybody out there to grow edibles, because we all need to eat, and the food that you can grow yourself, always the best in my opinion. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into the plant database, and they have 8,000 different plants. And we're gonna go down to the bees here, and we're gonna try to find the basil, one of my favorite herbs to grow in Las Vegas because they do grow so well. And we're gonna hit the basil. And once we hit the basil, as you guys can see, there's 23 different kinds of basil that you'll select from. and you'll select the specific variety of basil, because some varieties of basil may have different parameters. Now, don't worry if your plant is not in here, select one that's really close, like if it's an agave that's not listed, put an agave plant in there. Generally, agaves don't like as much water, and then it'll water accordingly. Now, if your plant is not in here, you can actually create database entries if you know the plant parameters, how much water it needs, the fertilizer, light requirements, to program it. And they hope to have a community site where you can share data on plants. So this is very powerful. I mean, this is the power of the internet and social media, all this stuff these days. The next thing you can do is actually, you don't have a program, you don't know how to program, you could just put it in a mode where it's just keep my plant alive mode, we'll just call it that, where it's just gonna water your plant, maybe not optimally, but at least water your plant so that it stays alive. One of the cool technologies that I like is that they basically optimize the watering schedule, with this built-in waterer to each plant. I cannot say how important that is to get the maximum amount of yield, maximum amount of growth. You don't want to flood your plants out with too much water, but yet you don't want to give them, not enough water either. You want to give them just the right amount. It's just kind of like us, right? If you don't feed us enough, we'll get skinny, we'll get bony, we'll be starving. And if you feed us too much, well, hey, wait, that's what we get in America today. We get 66% of people are overweight or obese due to overeating things like processed foods. So we want to get back to eating plant foods. But so anyways, with the Parrot H20, it'll never overwater your plant is what I'm saying, to sum it up. So your plant gets the right amount of water so it can grow and produce the most amount of food for you. So it'll also be the happiest, one sure way to love your plants. Next, let's go into the live feature of this and see the data that we're getting live from the sensor right here, right now on this pad. So here's the live data from the sensor that you see above. You can see it's 22% moisture, 25 degrees Celsius. Now you can change this from Celsius to Fahrenheit depending on where you live. It has 0.18 on the light and Na on the fertilizer. I'm gonna once again take my hand, put it over the sensor, and as you guys can see, it instantly drops to 10. And check this out, we're gonna go ahead and hit the watering, try watering. And as you guys can see, it's watering right now. To me, that kind of looks like it's peeing. Now I want to show you guys how this device works. We're going to hit this button, and now you guys can see a close-up on this shot here. It has a soil moisture sensor down here, a fertilizer sensor, a light sensor, and a temperature sensor. And it basically gives you all the data so that you'll know the temperatures. Another cool thing is, while it says it has a temperature sensor up here, it also has one down below, and it basically will give you the average of two temperatures. But if you're writing your own app, you can pull each temperature separately out there to use in your own data. So, especially when you're growing some non-hardy vegetables, plants don't like too cold the air temperature and too cold the soil temperature. So with this, you will be able to monitor it. That's really cool. And of course, there's a watering valve that'll turn the watering valve on, to water your plants as needed. Now, don't worry, you don't need to use the watering feature. You can just turn that off and not hook up any water if you just want to use this as a sensor. Because they open up the data stream for this device, it can be incorporated into other technologies. For example, hopefully at this CES, I'll find the company that actually makes a little irrigation control that taps in from the data from this device and uses it to water your beds to get them an appropriate amount of moisture. Both these products are not yet available. They will be available sometime in 2015, and also the pricing has not yet been released. So I can't say what the price is gonna be. I don't know what the price is gonna be. They don't even know what the price is gonna be. I could maybe take a gander on what the price could be based on their original flower power, which this is totally, I'm guessing the original flower power I think is around 60 bucks. They hope that this comes in about the same price. The other thing is on the pot, I probably expect that pot to be maybe around hopefully $100. That's still a lot for a pot, but it's a smart pot. What I might recommend instead is just buy a pot, get one of these guys, and have your own smart pot that pretty much has similar functionality. Oh, I also want to let you guys know that these do not plug in, so there's no chance of electrical shock or shorting out anything or burning your house down. These simply run on batteries. So the pot runs on 3 AA batteries that can last, a year or more. And this guy right here runs on a single AAA battery that will run minimum 6 months and maybe even up to a year. This also has, and as does the pot, little LEDs that will blink if you don't have an Android device or iPhone, iOS device to monitor the level. So for example, if you go to your mom's house, your grandma's house, and you could set one of these up with your iOS or Android device, and you could go away and not have the device, it'll still do the automatic watering, all this stuff based on the parameters that you originally set it up with. I mean, these are two amazing devices. I truly wish that there are more companies selling products, you know, that could make larger self-watering containers and incorporate more of this technology into the whole gardening arena so that more people could take some responsibility and start growing their own food at home. If you want to learn more about these products, you want to visit them at parrot.fr for these two products, and hopefully they'll update their website when they are released and when they are available. In the USA, there will probably be distribution through Amazon.com. They're currently selling the Parrot Flower Power product that doesn't have the watering capabilities, but can be linked you know, to the smart watering device that maybe we'll even try to find next. All right, so now I've saved the best for last for you guys, actually. This is my favorite booth at all of CES. I mean, I know there's really cool booths with all kinds of iPhones and all this stuff. I'm not in that stuff, man. I really love my garden. And the best booth here at CES for gardening is this booth right here. It's actually GreenIQ. The company's out of Israel, so I'm glad I get to actually meet them in the USA. I've read a lot about different, you know, controlled, smart controlled, you know, basically irrigation control systems, but this goes beyond that. This is basically, like many of you guys might out there might have been early adopters and adopted like the Nest, right? That it controls your temperature in your house. This is basically like a Nest for garden. It makes your garden smart. It'll basically do what you need to do all automatically and dial it in so that you get some of the highest production, and more importantly in this day and age, save the most water. Immediately when you put this system in, you could save up to 50% water easily, and I'm sure once it gets dialed in and fine-tuned, you're gonna save even more. I mean, in my opinion, many people overwater their gardens or underwater, which is not good in either situation. We're so busy in this life's day and age, you know, with having to work, having to deal with the kids and all this kind of stuff, right? Why even have to water your garden anymore, right? And why use a stupid, dumb controller that is not getting smart in this day and age? I mean, in the day and age of all these computerized sensors, we can do all kind of biometric stuff, right? We should have this for the garden, and the GreenIQ basically allows you to do that. And let me go ahead and do a close-up now on the controller and what it can do for you in your garden, and some more of the features that I like a lot. So now we're going to show you guys the Smart Garden Hub, and this is pretty much what it is. So this takes the place of your standard irrigation controller, you know, the one that you have to set to program. You water it, you know, 4 times a day, 1 minute each, or 4 times a day, you know, 5 minutes each for your drip irrigation. And I mean, those systems are stupid because they're just timers. I mean, this is the modern age, you know. The Smart Garden Hub by GreenIQ connects to the internet wirelessly, and really cool, they've actually have wired functionality for those of you guys that don't like to use the Wi-Fi in the house. You can actually just you know, plug in the Ethernet cable to this to connect to the internet. It'll basically get weather data, you know, of current forecast and future forecast for you and adjust your watering easily. So this can be a fully automatic system for those people that don't like to deal with stuff and have to program stuff. It'll take care of it for you. So I really like that a lot. Now, for a tech head kind of like me, I could get in there and modify it and make the system even better by adjusting variables. Now, one of the cool things about this, unlike the stupid controllers that you have, right, they can't easily update the software in this, right? Nowadays, it's all about the software, right? You guys always get new software updates for your operating system, for your iOS, all this kind of stuff. They could push out software updates as long as you're connected to the internet to this device, so that you will always be updated and have the latest and greatest features. Now, besides just connecting to the weather, if you want to expand it and take it to the next level, which I highly encourage you guys to do, this will also interface with third-party sensors. So this is the Parrot Flower Power Sensor. It detects the moisture, among other things. And now, based on the moisture reading that the Flower Power Sensor or the Koubachi sensor is making, and I do recommend the Flower Power. It's only about $60 for this sensor. This will adjust accordingly. So you can have up to 6 standard irrigation control valves. So you're not locked into using some kind of hose, rinky-dink system like the other one I showed you guys earlier. I mean, this is a full system to connect your garden to the internet, get feedback, and because their application is web-based, that means you can use it on an iPhone, you can use it on an Android phone, you can use it on a tablet, you can use it on your laptop, wherever you are in the world, to adjust your watering and to check in to see what's happening. So yeah, this is 6 valves, you can control them, and they're going to be expanding functionality in it, so it'll even work with what I like to do, the high pressure subsoil irrigation, which in my opinion is the future of farming, the future of irrigation, to save water, but more importantly to oxygenate the root zones. So yeah, that's definitely really cool. Now this guy, number one, is completely waterproof. I like that a lot. We could go ahead and just take this guy apart, check it out. This can be put outside without an irrigation waterproof box. That I like a lot. It's fully sealed, has the connectors in here, so the water is not going to get in. This is where the cables go in to basically connect to your water timers. You got an Ethernet port here, and I'm so glad they actually have an Ethernet port instead of just the Wi-Fi. If you have the Ethernet port, it's going to make setup a lot easier. And then it just has your standard 24-volt adapter that most units use. So this is fully sealed, all ready to go. Now, besides just controlling the irrigation valves, which it controls up to 6, and hopefully in the future they'll be expanded so that you can control more than 6. If you need to have more than 6 at this time, you have to buy a second unit, control other valves. It can also control the lighting based on if it's light or dark outside, based on the sunset or sunrise in your area. So you could use just standard landscape lighting, or maybe lighting to light up your plants. And in addition, I mean, this thing is the future of irrigation in your garden, because in the future they're going to actually have a water flow sensor that you can detect the water flow. So now you'll be able to detect if there's any leaks, any breaks in your pipes. You'll be able to see that through if the water flow meter is flowing too much. This will know. You could also see how much money you're saving, and that's really important. Besides maximizing the growth of your plants by giving them the proper amount of water, only watering when the soil needs it so that they could dry out and then get the right amount of water, and your plants are going to do better. They're going to be less stressed out. They're going to be fed water when they need it, not when they're already full and you're trying to dump on more, and then now the soil is too waterlogged, right? It's going to completely handle that for you. You could also know how much money you're saving and conserve water. That's super huge and it's super important. I mean, it's my opinion that most companies and irrigation companies out there have not done anything like this because water has relatively been cheap, right, in the past, and they didn't need to do this. But nowadays, water is getting more scarce, it's getting more expensive, and why waste water if you don't have to? And now with the GreenIQ, you don't have to waste water any longer. So this is the future of irrigation controls, and I like to put my money where my mouth is. I like this product a lot. I just met the company, they just met me, and I'm so glad that they're actually going to be giving me a sample unit to take home so I can make a video for you guys to show the install process and share with you guys my experiences on how it works. I'm really super excited about this and believe that everybody out there should get a GreenIQ to start saving some water and make sure that your plants get the proper amount of water without you having to do anything. I really hate how I have to reprogram my irrigation control, several times a year based on my weather, based on what I'm growing, based on my plants' needs. So with the GreenIQ Smart Water Hub and a moisture sensor, your plants will now be able to get the amount of water you need. So now I'm with O.D. Dehan, and he is a fellow gardener, guys. I mean, he saw a need in his garden because he was wasting water. He's like, there's got to be a better way. So he took some of the knowledge, that he has with tech, and he's now invented the GreenIQ. So I'm so glad I get to meet him. He's from Israel, and he's going to hand me a smart garden hub to set up and use in my very garden. And I'm really looking forward to saving some water and maximizing my plant growth, and especially because this is all software based, and they are releasing the API to you guys. So if you guys are tech heads, you guys can control it, yourselves. This is something not many companies do in this day and age that I believe they should. I mean, future garden right here, and I'm gonna get one so I can try for you guys.
There you go.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So there it is, my own very smart garden hub. Be sure to stay tuned, subscribe to my videos if you're not already. I have over 1,000 videos now teaching you guys all aspects of gardening. I don't know any other gardener that comes to tech shows, comes to different kinds of gardening trade shows, goes around to different places like me to share with you guys all the stuff I do. My videos are a wealth of knowledge for you guys so that you guys could not only grow your own food, eat your own food, but also things like save water and learn about the latest tech products of them all. So be sure to like my video, be sure to subscribe, and be sure to stay tuned and check out my past episodes. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode coming from the 2015 CES here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Once again, my name is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep on growing.